Alright, hello friends. Today we are doing this look right here. We're using mostly some new Juvia's Place items, at least like new to me, not necessarily new, but well, this one isn't new to me. Whatever. But yeah, I kind of wanted to just dive into that because I made an order while they were having a sale and I grabbed some stuff and I figured I would make a video out of it. So here we are. Most of the other items mentioned are still like in the affordable category because I wanted to keep it to be a more affordable look. My lashes are just off of AliExpress. They are the style D810, if that interests you. I also do give you my thoughts and everything as we run through. So if that sounds like your vibe, stay tuned. Feel free to subscribe if you like videos like this, tutorial, demo, review, information, If that's your vibe, do subscribe. Comment down below. Tell me about yourself. I'd love to know. And yeah, with that, we're just going to get straight on into it. We're going to create this eye look together and then we do the face after, and enjoy. Alright friends, we are up close and personal. I am primed with my P. Louise base in the shade 1, I believe. And the first palette I'm going to go in with is the Violet by Juvia's. I just got this one. So, very new, very fresh. Has pretty much just been swatched and then applied to this eye. The shades don't have names, so I'm just going to kind of point as we go. I'm going to start with the lighter matte shade here on a MAC 217, and that's going to go through the whole crease. Now this shade needed like a little bit more packing on than I kind of assumed that it would. And I just feel like it wound up looking like a little bit murky. But I also just could be being hypercritical. And my eyelids are a little bit textured right now because my skin is going through it. So don't judge the eyeshadow for that if it gets a little bit patchy or anything. There's not much that can be done there. So I'm kind of just packing this on throughout the crease here just to get like a general shape because we're going to go in with a second brush for blending purposes anyway. So it's kind of like all over. I've got a Morphe R38. So we're going to pick up a little bit more of the color. And we're going to use this guy to start blending and blowing out that color. Now I'm trying to use a very light pressure because my eyelids are a little bit peely because I started using a little bit of a stronger retinol than what I was using before to start trying to combat all of that. We'll put that back. So I did put my eye cream on first, but somehow my eyelids are still peely, even though I didn't touch them, so it is what it is. But yeah, we basically just want all that color down all over the place, easy peasy. So now I'm just going to go in with the other matte in the palette, this really, really dark purple here, and I'm taking that on a MAC 221, so just like very nice and tiny. And we're gonna go with a similar technique of kind of packing it on where we want it first. So I'm gonna start on the outer corner here. This does wind up coming through most of the crease, but I just wanted to start in a controlled manner, you know? So I just dipped back in for a little bit more. There we go, just to get a general where it's gonna be. So now I'm just gonna go in with a clean 221 and start to blend the edges here. Now this is a fairly dark shade, so be patient. Don't worry. If it doesn't start blending at first, just take your time. You'll get there. And at about this point, I went back in with the lighter shade on that really big Morphe fluffy brush and just kind of like reapplied just to help with that blend. And then I'm going to re-intensify a little bit. So we are doing some layering, but this is just to make sure we get the best result that we can here. And if you're finding working with darker colors like this a little bit more intimidating, you can like wipe your brush off in between as well just to make sure you're not applying any more color. That way you're working in even smaller increments because like you'll get there eventually, but it's understandable if it's like a little bit intimidating at first. Now, I wanted to add just one more color to the outer corner. So I grabbed my Magic. Yeah, my Magic by Juvia's. Huge. And I think this one does have names in it. It do! We are taking, I'm probably saying that wrong, but yeah. Basically, it's like an even darker purple, but this one has a little bit more blue in it. So I find just like the tone of it just kind of enhanced the look a little bit. So I'm actually taking that on a MAC 228 just to kind of pack it on the outer corner. Yeah, it's like a really, 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 really subtle difference on camera, but in person, it just adds like a nice hue to the look, because I feel like it looks a little bit dull almost. I don't know why. It doesn't, again, I'm probably also just like being picky, but it just felt a little bit dull to me, so I wanted to add this in. So now it is time to cut the crease, and I did use like mostly affordable items in this tutorial. I don't have a drugstore version of this kind of product, if you will. I'm using one of the Acid Rain paints from P. Louise and Mama Mitchell. I'm using the shade Ibiza. I just wanted to have like a little bit more intensity because these shadows are pretty pigmented on their own, but I feel like using a pigmented base was just going to give it like a little extra oomph. So I'm just taking that on a MAC 248 because I can't remember if I said that or not. Now I'm going to cut just a little bit over half. I'm probably going to be quiet while I'm doing it, which is why I'm telling you now. A little bit over half, and then blending it out with my finger. And do like take pauses when you're doing this so that you can compare to your other eye, just to make sure that they're even, because you don't want to like give yourself like a wonky little eye. I'm just gonna tap that out like a smidge. So we're going back to our violets palette. I'm just gonna take a little Morphe M124 and this light shade right here. I might wind up switching to my finger at some point, but we will see. Now, this brush is like a little bit scratchy, but for the texture of the shimmers from Juvia's Place, I find a brush with like a little grip to it is actually better because they are like a little silicone-y, so they're very, very smooth. And sometimes like a softer brush just won't really pick it up very well. Flipping to this shade in the top corner here, and then just because we're going to do it really quick, I'm going to be using this shade on the very outer corner. And I know I bitched and moaned about getting that color switch thing in my BoxyCharm in my last video, but I am using it right now. So I'm kind of applying this shade on a diagonal to give it like a nice fade towards my inner corner there. And then the deepest shade is just going on the very outside, just to give everything a nice little melt, just like that. So that is the eyeshadow on the upper lash line done. I'm going to make my exit to clean up underneath my eyes, do my mascara and my lashes, and then we'll come back zoomed out to continue the face. Okay, so we are back for some face action. I am primed. I put a little bit of concealer up on my situation up there just because I have used the foundation we're about to use before, and I know that I'm going to need a little bit more coverage. So I'm actually using the Juvia's Place foundation sticks. I have this, I ordered it in 2 shades because I purchased it during their Juneteenth sale, I believe. I know, something had me feeling ballin' like I could be out here buying 2 shades. So I got the shade Nicaragua for when I am pale, and I can't remember the shade that I got for when I'm tan. This one's like a pretty decent match for pale Taylor, like, you know, it's pretty good. I have worn this twice, but I did not wear it like long term, if that makes sense. I wore that for short periods, and both times I had to wear a mask when I had it on as well, so that did disturb things. I'm gonna do one side with a brush and one side with a sponge. Now, for me, this gave like fairly medium buildable coverage. Oh, my earring. Yeah, fairly medium buildable coverage. It wasn't overly matte on the skin either. It looked like a nice satin finish. Now, oh my god, my skin! Okay, my skin is very peely right now, so I think the brush isn't going to be it, just because I think I need the sponge for moisture's sake, because I look terrifying, and it's not the foundation's fault, it is my skin. The texture of my skin is not good right now. Foundation's not going to hide that. Remember, next time you go into Sephora and you're like, hey girl, my skin's feeling like a reptile, what foundation's gonna cover it? The answer is none. Don't do that to us. Let me zoom you guys in, this is hilarious. Whoop! Can you see the disgust? Awful. Awful. So I have a sponge in here with me. So let's try the sponge. I have my Juno microfiber. I kind of wish I didn't have the microfiber one and I just had the regular one, but my cat already wrecked all my other ones. Okay, this is better just because there's no like buffing motion involved, so it's not really disturbing the skin as much. Still not great, but definitely better than the brush, so we're gonna stick to the sponge for today. So like I said, nice medium buildable coverage. It did come off like on my mask when I wore it with a mask, but most foundations will, so I'm not offended by that. And it has like a really nice skin-like texture when your skin doesn't look like a booty hole like mine does right now. Because the last time I wore this, my skin wasn't peeling yet, and it looked really nice. And I know this is like a little bit light for me, obviously, like a little bit. We'll bronze it up. You know, we're ordering online. I'm Canadian, I don't have an Ulta that I can go into. It's tricky too, because these like the microfiber sponges just don't hold water the same way like the normal ones do, if you know what I mean. So I feel like this would look better with just like a normal sponge. Now, one pet peeve I have about the packaging is that like the stick shifts because it's very creamy. So it kind of like all the product gets stuck on the sides, and then when you close it, you get that. So a little messy. Not the worst thing in the world, but I wanted to point it out because I know for some people that's like not going to be their jam. Oh, my skin looks so bad right now. So I'm just going to do a little bit of my corrective concealer from MAC, just right in my little divots here. And then I'm going to go over top with my Juvia's Place concealer, of course. Okay, well, thank God my under eyes don't look too tragic. Okay, so I'm going to do my Juvia's Place concealer in shade 23. This concealer I do quite like, has like a lot of nice moisture to it. It's a vibe. It's also very thin, which is nice. I'm not even going to bother with my forehead. We're just gonna... This is what we're doing. It sits quite nice. And I'm also just using it to boost the coverage a little bit on my nose. I think I brought myself in a little bit. I feel like I was very far away. Now I'm only going to set my under eyes. I'm not going to put any powder on the rest of my face because that would look horrendous right now. That would look awful. It would just be terrible. So we're not going to do that. Now this won't be like transfer resistant or anything like that without powder. I've actually just always been wearing it without powder. I haven't really actually set it before because I like the more natural finish. Of course, depending on your skin type, you are welcome to set it. Whatever brings you joy. Okay, so I'm going to do a little powder and a little cream contour off camera just because they're not any Juvia's products currently. I am keeping it affordable, you know. I've got my Maybelline Fit Me powder, and then I'm also going to bronze with the Wet n Wild Icon Bronzer in Palm Beach Ready off camera as well. But I'll come back for blush, highlight, the lower lash line, and we'll do lips together even though I don't have any lip products from Juvia's Place. They're just like affordable. So I was just about to start bronzing my skin, and I had, well, this thought that I'm going to communicate now before I keep talking about the newer products here. So as I was mentioning, obviously my skin's in a bit of a state right now, but I feel like that's actually, I was thinking about it and I was getting kind of frustrated with myself. I was like, ugh, can't believe you're filming when your skin looks like this, how dare you, blah 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 blah. But in reality, a lot of people don't have very perfect skin, you know what I mean? Like if you do, you're blessed, fantastic. I used to have really nice skin myself. Obviously things have changed, but you know, I feel like even when I was working in makeup retail, like the amount of people that would actually come in and had like the most perfect of perfect skins were very few and far between. So at least in seeing how this looks on my skin, this is a little bit more realistic to how many other people's skin may look, especially if you're dry, or say if you're on an acne medication like Accutane or something like that. your skin peels a lot when you're on things like acne medications. So this is also actually a pretty good representation of how it would look if you are on Accutane. Just saying. So yeah, I just want to put that out there because I was kind of bumming on myself a little bit, and then I thought about it and I was like, why would I do that to myself? Why would I? Negative self-talk? Who is she? No thank you. Fixing my little curly boys here. Okay, so I bought the Saharan Blush Palette Volume 2 because I haven't tried anything face-wise from Juvia's place. Now, the first thing that actually pops up to me is this color just looks chef's kiss. I don't think it'll go with, like, the face right now. I think I'm going to wind up applying this one, but I think I'm going to put, like, a little bit of that one on, like, just to see what happens, because, like, worst case, we hate it, and I just wash my face. So I'm going to take this Morphe M500, because it's, like, super loosey-goose, and I'm going to dip into this shade. It's called Yara. It looks like it could almost be a bronzer shade, but when I swatched it, it had a little bit more red to it, and I feel like with how pale I am right now, that wouldn't have worked out. But I'm going to try to keep it, like, to the backs of my cheeks. Yeah, it does have, like, a little bit of red in it, but I think that's quite pretty. I think with, like, a little bit more of a tan, even. That looks really nice. That's a very pretty color. Okay. Definitely does have some depth, so if you're pale like me, obviously, use with caution, but I think it's a really, really beautiful color. I'm just going to take my sponge and just kind of go over the edges of that at the top. Yeah, just to soften it up a little bit. And then I'm going to take my Luxie and JD Wadey 180 thingy, and I'm going to go into Lena a little bit for the apples of my cheeks. Because at this point, we might as well just keep packing stuff on like nothing crazy is happening on my face right now. So this one's actually quite pigmented. I did like the tiniest dip and I tapped it off and I had enough for both cheeks. So again, if you're a pale lady like myself, use with caution. Oh no, all the foundation's coming off. Womp womp. I haven't used powder blush over this foundation before. I've only used cream blush over it. So I'm just going to go back in with the sponge again and kind of just tap all that back together as best as we can here. I'm not going to lie to y'all, I'm still going to take pictures of this, but I'm going to have to face tune it a little bit, you know? Because I feel like if I don't, it doesn't get like the same kind of traction, if you will. I feel like if I like leave like blemishes and like stuff in there, it just doesn't get as many likes. People don't really, I guess, want to see that. I don't know. Ooh, okay, well that's a hot mess. All right. Love the colors, love the pigmentation, chef's kiss on that. Not loving that my foundation came off underneath it, but it is what it is. I didn't set my foundation, I took the risk, and I was not rewarded. Now there's also some more shimmery shades in the middle here. Now, I did bring in a separate highlight just in case, because what I'm thinking is I'm going to take my brush, I'm going to use a little bit of Zoba here, and I'm going to go lower on the cheekbone, almost more so on the actual, like, cheek, and just apply that over top, because I still want to see how it looks, but I feel like it's, like, borderline too dark for me. Yeah, if I put that on the high points, it'll be too much. Very strong golden sheen with like a pink base. So this would look beautiful on someone with more color in their skin than myself. But still very, very pretty. Now I did bring in like still a more affordable highlighter, if you will. I have my Physicians Formula Butter highlighter in the shade Pearl to actually put like on the tops of my cheekbones, just because color wise that's a little bit better for me. Yeah, let's just highlight all this texture here. Why not? We're gonna live on the edge. I wonder how bad it actually looks like through the camera, because I can't really tell. Obviously my viewfinder is very small, so like I wonder like if this looks good or bad to you guys, you know what I mean? So we're gonna go back to the eyes. We're basically just gonna rinse and repeat what we did on the top of my eye. So we're gonna take both shades. I'm gonna do one at a time. I'll just do one eye and then I'll fix the other eye after. So I'm gonna go in with the lighter shade first on a MAC 228. Get my mirror here so I can see. And we're just gonna bring that across the whole lower lash line. And I'm carrying that like fairly low because I want to make sure it connects on the outer corner there. And then just on the tippity tip of the brush, I'm taking the deeper shade and blending that closer to my actual lashes, but still going most of the way across because I'm feeling feisty, you know? And then to highlight my inner corners, I'm actually just going to use the same highlight I used on my face. Same little 228, just like that. Or you can probably see my skin texture a lot more horrifyingly this close. I did put the acid rain paint on my waterline as well. You can put these on your waterline. They set, they stay forever. Fantabulous. And with that, I'm going to finish the other eye and then I will come back. Okay, we are back to do lips. Now, the brief period that I was gone, I wanted to go online and I wanted to look at the foundation stick again on the website, just in case I was like missing something or like whatever. I just want to make sure that all was well. So I noticed that the ingredients aren't listed on the website, which like isn't my absolute favorite thing. But I also noticed that it says that it has shea butter, which is like very, very hydrating, can be a little heavy for oily skin, but also it has oil controlling ingredients, and I found that's a little bit contradictory, in my opinion. Now, I didn't find this to be particularly oil controlling, and I'm not severely oily. Maybe you have a different experience if you do set it with powder, but I'm talking about just the stick itself. In terms of the texture on my skin, obviously, it looks like I'm going through it. Definitely not my best look. Looked a lot better when my skin wasn't doing what it's doing right now, and so I mean if you have a more even skin texture or not a lot of dryness or flakiness, I feel like you would enjoy this. If you do have any peelies, flakies, anything like that, I don't think this is going to be for you, especially if you don't like to set your whole face with powder, just because applying those powder products on top did pick everything up underneath, so it didn't really stick to my skin very well. And I did use my Milk Hydro Grip Primer, which gives you grip and also some moisture, so I definitely wasn't set up for failure by any means in that sense. So I think I'll probably stick to using this on like low makeup days when I'm using like all creams and all that kind of stuff. That's how I was using it before, and I liked it that way before. I think for a full face like this, it's just not going to be for me. This is much more moisturizing in contrast also to the liquid foundation. I feel like the liquid foundation is much more mattifying and also has a lot more coverage than this. This is like a solid medium to me, medium buildable, while the liquid is like a definite full. So that's my 2 cents on that. I still love the concealer. I'm happy with like literally everything else. I feel good about all of it. But yeah, that's just like the one little thing that kind of got me. And yeah, I don't know. I just find that those 2 ingredients listed together for their benefits are a little bit contradictory. But yeah, okay, moving on. So, for lips, I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't have any cheap lip liners. I'm so sorry. Affordable, not cheap. So I'm going to use this Makeup Forever one here. This is Up and Down Tan. This is one of my faves. There we go. Just give it like a little bit of a fill. And then I have a ColourPop lipstick. This is in the shade Ariel. It was from the Disney collection, but I just wanted to use it because it is more affordable. And this has like a really nice texture. It's also literally just like a warm neutral, very easily duped. And then just to lighten it up a little bit, I have this gloss from Alchemy Beauty. Now this is a local brand to me. You can order them online, but it's actually like based in my city, and I know the founder, so I wanted to toss this on as well. I do really like these. My one gripe is that I feel like I have to dip like 30 times, and that's actually not light enough for me still. So what I'm gonna do now, you can do this with the P. Louise base like I'm doing, or you can use your concealer. I'm gonna take a little bit. I'm gonna take a brush. This is just like a random pencil brush. There we are. Okay, that is the finished look. We're done. We're putting the brushes down. This is me. hello. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Keep posing for you. Okay, yeah. So don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos, more tutorials, more drama such as this. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, afternoon, evening, late night, whatever it is. Have a good time, and I will see you next time. Bye.